Hey guys, welcome to episode 98 of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is the 14th of July 2018, straight in the middle of the blazing summer season, and we are about to start our first round of reviews. There is going to be a lot of series here, so we're just going to go ahead. Here are our hosts. Again, as usual, I am Spire. With me are my usual compatriots, Toast,
Hello.
Nier,
Hello.
and Dark.
Hey.
Okay, so let's just get it right into it. How have you guys been doing these past 2 weeks? I know first, the first episode, I guess, 2 episodes have out. So how have you guys been raking it in? Dark?
I didn't watch a ton, but I think what I did watch has been pretty all right so far.
So I mean, we a lot of these premises again usually start out like they're not like terrible, and then we're like, oh, okay. So we'll probably still have to see a lot of them, how they go, but we'll just keep on trucking. Nier?
What's up?
Okay.
I'm not paying
What have you been
attention.
up
What
to?
are we doing?
What have you
Alright.
been up to these past 2 weeks?
Stuff.
Stuff, all the things.
Playing video games, watching anime,
Mhm.
being a degenerate.
What's your favorite video games of summer 2018?
I haven't played a new game in a long time, so I don't know. But I watched like one episode. I think there's only one episode out. Question mark of Harukana Receive, which is like the blood cells one.
Yeah, Cells at Work.
Episode 2 came out today.
Damn, pretty cute. Talk about that in a later episode probably.
Mhm.
I watched 2 episodes of Banana Fish, which
Yes.
I will be talking about this episode. Pretty good. And I was
Mm.
going to watch the first episode of Tenro Sirius the Jaeger,
Yes. I actually
Nice
want to check that
title.
out too.
but fan subbing is dead, and
What do
apparently
you mean? Crunchyroll is a perfectly fine substitute.
apparently the only subtitles that are out are like not very good. So
No,
I'm
don't worry.
waiting.
Crunchyroll is gonna revive anime something. You just wait.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Just waiting. All right, good. We'll get to that in a bit. Toast, what have you been up to?
I looked up what Sirius the Jaeger is. It says, the story is yet another example of anime having vampires similar of Strike the Blood, but ironically here, the protagonists are the hunters called Jaegers, so I assume they're human. Ironically, humans are hunting vampires now in anime. This is unheard of.
How many times did you just say ironic there?
Ironically ironic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Okay, so
What did I watch?
how to kind of receive, I think, right? You said you didn't say that yet, right?
Did I tell you, Spire, that I wanted to postpone this podcast by about a week so I could get in at least 3 episodes of what I was watching?
No, you didn't tell me that at all.
Well, I'm
but-
telling you now.
You sure don't need that for Harukana fucking whatever.
So I watched. Nothing good came out that I wanted to watch until like last week. So I watched 2 episodes of Isekai Mao, the best Isekai this season. And then I watched.
Just stop this right
That's a
now.
high bar.
I don't approve of that.
Haven't you heard, Spire? It's basically if Konosuba met Overlord.
Go on.
I also watched. I also skipped the first episode of Yuragiso. It's basically an introduction, and I know all the characters, so I don't need to watch the first episode.
I mean, it's gonna be a relatively straight adaptation, right? Either way, so why do you?
And
Why
it's-
would it matter?
I skimmed through 5 minutes of it. I looked up the voice actor, and I was like, that's neat. No, I'm just waiting for episode 2.
Okay, yeah.
Then I watched. And I was gonna watch the badminton one, but I was like, that's kind of lame. So then I watched like a couple episodes of Haikyuu, and I was like, wait a minute, I was supposed to watch a show like this. Then I watched Harukana Receive, and I was like,
Okay.
all right, this came out this season.
Okay.
And
All right,
then
so-
and then I watched a
Okay.
few episodes of what's it called? It's kind of lame. I didn't like it at all.
What series?
Okay.
What series was it?
It's the one with the Kana Hanazawa as the pink-haired girl. I didn't like it because it was yandere.
Sweet Sugar Life or something like that. Sugar
Sweet
Sweet Life.
Life. Sweet
Yes.
Sugar Life or whatever.
Happy
Oh,
something
yeah,
like that.
Happy Sugar Life. Yeah,
Happy
I was,
Sugar Life.
Life.
Excuse me. Yes.
and I was like, here we go, my fellow fams. This is the new Mirai Nikki of this generation.
Mirai Nikki. What? No,
This
I don't think
era?
that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. But I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. But I share a bit of your expectations in that it's not necessarily gonna be super like, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. I think
It
because
gets crazy.
Well, I don't know about crazy, but I think it's going to be the way the writing is going to be. I can smell, like, just from my obvious, quote-unquote, years of experience, like, watching this garbage unfold, I can smell a bumpy ride. So
If we compare it to Crazy Levels, is it what Dante is it? Is it DMC3 Dante, Reboot Dante, DMC4 Dante, or Old Man Dante?
Probably DMC2 Dante.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll definitely watch out for that. I know it's going to be a little bit whack, but we'll see if it goes whack in a good way or not. But yeah, as for me, I've been pretty quiet. I've been watching. Honestly, I do like this season. Obviously, even again a bit more, even though I was more optimistic in the spring season.
That's because you guys hated the spring season. You were like, "There's
I
nothing
didn't
good
hate
here."
the spring season. Hey, don't
Then
lump me with these cynicisms.
What did you like last season?
Excuse me.
What?
What did you
Yeah,
like
really.
last season?
Last season?
Yeah, tell us.
I have to actually look back because I keep
Oh.
forgetting like what is in last season. The problem.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We got time.
Wow, you must have liked it so much if you have to look back.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, it's like I wasn't like, I like all this stuff is just like garbage. At least like when I was like going through it, but
But it was pretty garbage. It was like Cutie Honey Universe. I
The thing,
remember that.
the
I was
thing
like,
is,
no,
if
that's
it
bad.
was specifically garbage, I would have actually remembered it. That's the thing. Like with Frank's, I was just like, oh, this is
Oh
kinda
yeah,
really
Frank's
bad. And
came
then I
out last
remember
season.
it.
Oh.
Like
No, it
even
didn't.
even
No, it
even if
didn't.
it wasn't that
Not the
famous,
season before that.
yeah, even if it wasn't that famous, I would have still sort of like remembered. So that's the thing. Because if it reaches like a certain level of like, oh, this is not going, I like tend to. But if it's like, oh,
You
like, it's
didn't
not
name a
terrible.
series yet. We're waiting.
Okay, I'll tell you after the podcast. Okay, let's.
Oh my god.
Yo, I'm
Avoiding
totally
the
dodging.
question.
I
Fucking
totally dodging.
fraud.
Yeah,
This man doesn't even watch anime.
yeah, I don't even watch anime, but yeah, the weird shit was I like started to go back for So what happened was like recently a whole spat of like I found this like channel that was like publishing, trailers and like MVs of like or like promotion trailers of like recently released visual novels and stuff, and I was like, oh man, like because I've been wanting to get back on the visual novel hike for a while, but I just didn't have the time to. But then there was like a Euclid, a visual novel that came out recently, and Euclid is like one of those larger like VN studios in Japan, and they're one of the only ones that actually do like a hybrid like VN and like dungeon crawler-ish RPG like decently, not like completely like flash game style like, oh, this is completely fucking garbage. What am I even looking at? But like they actually do it decently. They have the money and everything. So I was like, oh man, I kind of want to get into it. And I played some other stuff. I like translated some stuff, and I was
What'd
like,
you translate?
I translated. It was Sankaku Renai. Fuck, what was its full name? It's Suki to Sankaku Renai, or I forget it how it is like abbreviated in Japanese, but it's a pretty good visual novel. I believe it is getting translated and released for 2019. But yeah, it has been officially announced to be released in 2019 sometime. But it is made by a good studio, so I'm looking forward to it. But it is, again, good in general, I guess. But yeah, that's sort of what I've been.
Hold on a second. Since when did buying light novels and manga become so cheap? I remember spending $9.99 for every Love Hina volume, and it took me several months.
It's called fucking supply and demand. First of all,
and then here, the magic in this world is too far behind. Is $6.99.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's called It's called supply and demand, Toast. And second of all,
The vending machine light novel is $7.99. What is
second
this
of all-
travesty?
and second of all, a lot of people are going into digitalization. Although there's like a couple of pieces of news I wanted to actually point out, like way down the line when we're talking about the news. But a lot of people are going to digitalization, which makes things a lot cheaper because they don't have to print out fucking everything and like hire a publishing line and everything. So things are going pretty well for light novel and manga these days. But yeah, anyways, that's all I had. I'm gonna be talking about a certain series. I'm fucking taking a bullet for the team this episode around, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways,
Aha, I get it. Bullet. Because they use guns.
yes. Toast. What have you been, or what is the series that you want to cover this episode?
The one that I want to, or the one that I feel like I should?
The one that you said you were going to cover this season, or this episode.
Okay. Because the one that I want to is going to be later on. Look forward
Please
to that.
cover the one that you said you were going to cover this episode, Toast.
What did I watch? I watched... you know that one...
Is this an analogy? Are we already making it? What's happening?
you know, what was that one movie with Tom Hanks? Was it Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks did a lot of movies.
One Tom Hanks.
It was called Castaway.
There you go.
One of my favorite movies.
It's the one where he was like a UPS guy, and he gets caught. He was like flying a plane, then he crashes into an island or something. And then his only friend is a basketball named Wilson.
It's a volleyball, but
Volleyball.
okay. You literally ruined your entire segue, but by all means, go on.
So, yeah, volleyball named Wilson. But in this series I watched, there's a volleyball called Mikasa. Then I looked it up, and it's actually an official volleyball brand or something.
Yeah, they probably had a contract. Yeah, they probably had a contract. Okay.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship.
So just like in Castaway, this takes place on
a deserted island.
deserted
No
island.
hope for survival.
A deserted island named Okinawa, because that's... Man, it's like every time there's going to be an island in the summer, everyone's like, let's go to Okinawa.
I mean, that's like because it's like Japan's Hawaii, essentially, right? It's like, in fact, when some people are like, sometimes they joke about it, it's like, have you never gone outside of the country before? It's like, I've gone outside of the country to Okinawa. It's kind of like that sort of thing, right? It's like their sort of like out like vacation resort.
Well, you remember the deserted like 2-car island in 2-car? Where they're all like, we're coming here for the sideguard championships. Well, it's kind of like that, because the main character's named Haruka, and she was all like, I'm going to fly to Okinawa for summer vacation, because she sucks at speaking English, so she can't go with her mom to America.
Okay.
So, and she's like this super tall girl, like Kirai level tall. So she's like towering over all the tiny little Okinawans, and they're like, wow, she's so tall, is she a model? And she's like, shut up. And then she meets her, this brown girl, tan girl, I think it's her cousin or something, so she's staying with them. And then she finds a beach volleyball course. She's like, wow, that's cool. And
Beach volleyball course, huh?
Yeah. And then she's all like,
Track.
let me check out this sweet digs. And then some other team shows up, another tan girl and like a pink-haired girl, and they're all like, pass us the ball. And she's all like, no, shut up. Let me play some beach volleyball with you. And they're like, okay. And then her cousin shows up, and she's like, there's some sort of tension between them. And they're like, I'm gonna challenge you to beach volleyball, you losers. And they're like, okay, 7 points if you score 1 point off us, you'll win. And then her cousin's all like, what'd you do, loser? They're the high school championships of beach volleyball. And she's like, oh dang, I shouldn't have challenged them. JK, I wanted to challenge them anyway. And so that's about it.
So okay, so is this more like or is this like a Prince of Tennis kind of thing?
That was the first episode. Second episode is when they actually do.
No, can
Please don't do
Let's do
that.
the
Please
battle.
do not give us a summary. But
The point is, the first episode was completely boring. I was having trouble watching all of it because I was like, we're gonna introduce all these characters and beach volleyball, and I'm like, okay.
So they kind of like front loaded like all of the cast like at the beginning and then
Just
No, they absolutely did not.
just 4 characters, because at
What's
the end of
happening?
episode 2,
Okay,
there's
so yeah, you're right.
at the end of episode 2, these like 2 American girls show up, and it's like foreboding because they're looking over the beach volleyball court. So I'm looking forward to that. But what I'm trying to say is, the first episode is really boring. The second episode only got good when they started doing beach volleyball stuff.
Okay. Can I again?
It's if you want to compare it, it's like a sports anime so far.
Who'd have thought?
It's
It's
it's pretty sportsy.
like
They're talking about
Yeah.
passing and setting and spiking. I'm like, wow, that's pretty boring.
So is it again? Is it more like the specific perspective they're going for? Is it more like Prince of Tennis kind of thing? Is it like Keijo, like degenerate, like super degenerate kind of thing? Or-
I've been hearing people say, oh, well, this is the Keijo of beach volleyball. I'm like, no, it's not, you weirdos.
Yeah, it didn't seem like
It's
that.
like-
Keijo is pretty far out. That's the thing. Like,
Their butts are not expanding and they're not hitting
well,
each
that's
other
not.
with their boobies. And it's
it's
like,
not
no. They're
the
actually
only reason why people are saying that is because it's an ecchi with
Yeah,
light
it
It's
airy
has like the
elements.
it has the girls and it has the bikinis and they're like, oh man, fucking Keijo.
So it's like, wow, there's shots of their bikinis. I'm like, so what? You've never seen a bikini before, you perverts?
You know bikini scenes, yeah.
It's like, what do you think they'd wear when playing beach volleyball?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah,
like a
it's-
school uniform or something? That's what Sand will get into.
Pantsuits.
And they mentioned that like they mentioned that because there's like one of the girls is like, I think it's the main character Haruka. She's all like, wow, aren't their swimsuits kind of skimpy and like tight around the butt? And then her cousin's like, oh, that's because you gotta be able to move freely. You can wear whatever you
it's-
want, but
It's for aerodynamic.
like
aerodynamic
if you fall and your butt, sand will get into your butt. So you gotta wear something that's kind of rides up, to keep your butt
yeah.
clenched. And I'm like, wow, that's good to know.
Clench. Good to know. I will keep that knowledge safe in my
So
storage.
that's why their swimsuits are all sort of ridden up on their butt to keep their butt
Yeah.
safe from sand particles.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I don't
so
know. Like,
if people okay, so let's see. How do you say this? It's not like what's like a recent sports series that you saw that you would also
I mentioned
if somebody said I saw this series and then you would be like, okay, then I'll recommend you.
I mentioned Tsukar earlier, right? Where it's
Yeah,
like
okay.
it's kind of slow, and it's introducing all these characters, and there's actually some good action / sports scenes. I would
Yeah.
I would say, I said earlier, it's kind of like Tsukar, because if I would say something like it's like Haikyuu, then that would be a disservice to Haikyuu, because Haikyuu's pretty hype. Haikyuu.
Okay.
That's some
Haikyuu.
primo sports action thing.
Okay.
Also, it can't be like Haikyuu because the main character is the short one. But in this one, the main character is the tall one, and then her doubles partner is her short cousin. Oh yeah, the reason why there was this sort of tension between the cousin and this other tan girl was they used to play beach volleyball together, but her cousin stopped growing, so she's got short, and she was self-conscious about that because you got to kind of have a height advantage for beach volleyball, so you can do cool spikes. And she was like, "Oh no, I'm too short. I can't reach the net anymore." So they had a falling out, and then the other girl was like, "Well, screw you," and then she found a doubles partner, and they became the high school champions. And at the end of episode 2, she's like, "Wow, I should not be worried about my height anymore. I still love beach volleyball." And then she gets her spirit back.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the high school championship volleyball arc.
Okay. Well, I mean the tournament arc's definitely gonna come. It's just how long they make it, when it's gonna come, and like how the training session and all that bullshit's gonna develop. But that's the usual stuff. But yeah. Okay.
I mean,
so-
what else can I say? Visually, It's fine. It's pretty comfy. It's very
Okay.
It looks very slice of life. I do have one problem though.
It's Silverlink, right? Yeah, it's Silverlink.
Like the water's kind of and the water and the sand is kind of in some places. You can tell it's CG. I think the ball's CG sometimes too, but like
The ball is CG most of the time.
yeah, it's kind of in.
Okay.
But like
Well, unless they're hitting it. I think it's like when they hit it, it's not. But when it's like a pop-up.
yeah, there was this one scene where the main girl was wading in the water, like she was walking towards the water and she got in it, and the water is like it's just kind of there, kind of like a flat texture, and it's like that's not very dynamic. Have you
Like
seen
real life.
Have you seen freeze water? That's some
Yeah,
prima
well-
water there.
You can't really compare that, honestly.
And then the sand, you can tell it's 100% CG because the way
I
the
feel
sand
like-
clouds.
Yeah, I feel like the sand has a pretty decent style though to it because when it's still, it looks almost like it's not and it's painted, but when it moves, it doesn't look too bad either. So
But I mean, other than that, it looks nice. There's they have some nice muscle definition on the girls when they do their things, and I was like, that's neat. Because you gotta have some meat on them bones when playing beach volleyball. You guys ever played volleyball? It hurts your arms, you know. Gotta have leg strength to jump in sand, because sand is. You guys remember that one episode of
works and it
Ippo?
gets everywhere.
You guys remember that one episode of Ippo where Ippo was training in the sand? And it was out there like, you gotta kick with your toes or something. Because
Okay.
sand absorbs more force than ground, so you gotta. put
Yeah,
some more
no,
oomph.
I understand the physics of how beach volleyball works decently. But anyways, any last words, Toast, about the series?
The first episode's really boring. Second episode, I guess, fixed it.
So you think it'll develop better in the upcoming episode?
Sure, because
Okay.
the two American girls showed up. I don't know if they're American, but they're blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and they got big boobies, so they gotta be American. So.
Okay.
They-
Alright.
Because you know the other team was a high school championship, so they got rivals. They got to be from like American Japan beach volleyball school. Probably not in Okinawa. Then but they came over here like I challenge you, and they'll be like shut up, let's fight. I don't know. It's fine. It's definitely not Haikyuu material, because you know, Haikyuu's like what, the second.
I mean, Haikyuu is a pretty, like, it's decently respected, so it's like, it's kind of hard to
Haikyuu's
compare.
also not a split show.
Yeah.
Like the show is split between being a sports series, but it's also an ecchi slice of life. So you're gonna lose some stuff there.
It's not as interesting as
Like you
Haikyuu.
gain so much more.
In what? The scene where the high school championship girl was crying because she was like, "Did I push away my previous doubles partner because I was too tall?" And I'm like, "Wow, I don't care."
Alright.
I
Alright,
don't
so, okay.
What?
No, no.
I would argue against that making a series or an episode boring, but okay.
I don't know. It's like if you want more out there stuff, that's what Keijo's for. If you want DBZ
That's
with
the
butts
thing.
and
This
boobs,
isn't supposed to be out there. It's supposed to be a grounded slice of life series with volleyball.
I know. I was about to say this is not for you because that's Keijo. That's for me. And then it's definitely not Haikyuu, but it has its own niche in there. I'm hoping to see the motivations of the other characters because the main girl's boring. She's the Genki girl. And then there's the I love beach volleyball, but I'm short, so I gotta give it up. But I love it so much that I get back in there. And then I don't know. It's fine. I'll rate it. I'll rate it on the scale.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, we got it.
Alright.
Yeah, alright, we done.
I was trying to be really cool and be like rate it in volleyball sizes, but I don't know anything about
Volleyball sizes.
I don't think
Anyways, let's
volleyballs.
move on. Let's move on.
So
I don't know if there's
thank you.
any sizes to volleyballs. I think they're standard.
Okay. Anyways, thank you, Toast, for the review. I'll probably check out a little bit of it. I mean, I read Cage. I didn't watch Cage, but I did read Cages, so I'm not like. Totally
Who's your favorite Keijo?
I mean, I didn't read that far into it, but it's like, I mean, the characters themselves didn't really impress. It wasn't like I didn't really watch it for the characters. I
did.
read it for the characters. I gotta be real honest with you.
Spire, one of them was the outfighter Miyata, and while the main character was an infighter like Ippo. Remember when she did her K acceleration? That's definitely
Can you
some.
stop talking about Keijo?
All right, let's stop. Anyways, let's move on to Dark. What do you have? Sorry for the rough transition. What do you have for us?
I have a show.
I'll do a transition. Remember that one tan girl in what's the show called? Harukana Receive? Well, there's another tan girl in this show.
Hey, guess
Dark.
what? She hasn't even shown up yet. Fortunately.
Dang.
Actually, no, that's a lie. She's in the first scene, but then she doesn't show up for the next episode.
Okay. And the series is?
So the series is Sunoharasou no Kanrinin-san?
Yes, Kanrinin-san. Yeah, Kanrinin.
There you go.
What's it about?
Yeah, and it's about a young lad.
How young? Like near young or like?
I want to say he's middle school. I think, right?
So
like,
I think all the characters are middle school.
essentially, the
except
idea
for-
is he's like a Shota. He's like a Shota. It's like he looks cute? Question mark. It's like he's supposed to be kind of like this like. He's supposed to be to the other character. He's supposed to look like a girl almost.
Yeah.
He's supposed to look like a girl.
So like
He's what you would call, with the loaded term these days, a trap.
No, it's just a Shota, right?
Well, I mean, he
It's
could be.
Shona.
Yeah.
Could be.
It's just this show
They
is
put him in a
literally
dress
just,
at one point.
It's literally just straight
Shota-con?
Shona. The show.
Shota-con?
Come on.
Yeah.
Like stop
It's-
beating
do
around the
you
bush.
like-
It's straight,
you
it's
like-
SS the show. Like come on.
Listen, did you like the dynamic of what's her name? And from Maid Dragon?
Quetzalcoatl?
Dragon Maid? Yeah. Yeah, did you like that dynamic?
Yeah,
Well,
this is
That's essentially this entire show.
Yeah, it might as well be like a spin-off for that sort of interaction.
So pretty much, actually. So
I
if
get
you're a
you.
degenerate too, you don't really like this.
So the interesting thing is they're trying to do a lot of stuff in the series from what I'm seeing. So it's like they're trying to run this whole like, they're trying to run this comedy shtick based upon, oh, I want to be a man, but then, I get fucking like glomped on by girls with huge boobies. So they're running that comedy shtick. They're running the sort of like slight rom-com tinge fan service, which will extend and become stronger throughout the series. They're running the like the maternal aspect of like some of the characters, right? And then like the maternal like development / like they're then becoming more motherly / more feminine, whatever, right? And then they're also trying to run like some sort of like I guess it's sort of tacked onto the whole like I want to be like more manly kind of comic stick, but it's like the growth of the interpersonal interactions between the Shota and then the girl. It's like I want you to recognize me as not being just like a girl, but like as an actual like fucking like man / person, right? So they're trying to do a lot of that, but it's all getting kind of like, because obviously that's a lot of shit, right? So that's all getting kind of jumbled up. But in this case, it kind of like doesn't really matter. It's like from what I'm saying, it's like a theme lasagna is how I describe it. It's like all of it's just like melding together, like fucking like a degenerate pile of fucking fatty garbage, whatever. But it doesn't really matter because like most of the stuff in there is degenerate anyway. So you're just like,
that ain't what we're here for.
So do you mean, if it's melded together, do you mean like a fondue? Or like America's
It's
melting
not a fondue.
pot?
It's like much more bumpy than that. It's like just things are just happening
Hardier
like
than that.
Yeah.
So, like-
Again, I think it's more like a lasagna where it's like you'll just find bits like, we're gonna just do this like maternal
Spire,
like
lasagna is in layers. Do you mean like a frittata?
I mean, lasagna isn't layers, but it's like when it gets big enough, or like when you, I mean, like unless the pasta is like super thick,
Like a jambalaya.
I guess. Yeah, sure. Jambalaya, fried
What is
rice.
it
Kind of. I don't think it
fucking
doesn't really
matter?
matters. The point I'm
Big
trying to make is
Shokugeki no
that
Soma Fanny. Gotta get it right.
the point I'm trying to make is that like a lot of things are sort of like melting and meshing together. So it's like it's very like again, it doesn't like in this sense it doesn't really matter because like none of the themes are like super like fucking we gotta develop this in a super like mature and complex and subtle manner. No, it's like it's just all kind of melding together. But like you'll find it's like finding chunks and pieces of vegetables in like a chowder kind of thing where it's like, oh, you just had this like maternal like introspection, or like, oh, I just had a flashback about, being treated like a girl all the time, stuff like that. So it'll just kind of happen throughout the series. So that's sort of how I thought of it.
Yeah, I would say it blends pretty well. Like it doesn't feel like it's all over the place is the thing. It still feels like it's like you kind of know where an episode is going. So that's nice.
So why do they like this little boy? Does he still have some sort of hormone,
I don't really
or is it because
like they're just kind of not assholes. I mean, the caretaker is just like touchy with all the members there, so
Yeah,
it's just kind of her shtick.
Are you sure it doesn't remind that boy doesn't remind him of her late husband or something? Is she a widow?
No,
it's not a doujin. It's not an H
No.
doujin.
she's not a widow. That's for sure.
It's not a show to call an H doujin. We would like literally the entire like a third of the country of Japan would get arrested if like that show was broadcast.
But what do you do when you have a big-breasted One-san? It's like, is she related to him somehow?
No.
Is she like her aunt or something?
No, he's just going to high school, and she's literally the like caretaker landlady sort of deal
What's his
for
motivation for
the
moving
dorm.
there? It's like
Because he's going to school, so he needs to move there. He needs a place to live, and that is where he is living.
there's
those
gotta
dorms.
there's gotta be some underlying motive. I've read many of these dorm room harem things. There's
there's a
something
lot of
strange
them.
going on in here.
No, there's really not. I don't think we're getting any deeper than guess what? Here's an One-san voiced by Rina Satao, and
Yeah,
there you
okay.
have it.
What if she's some sort of demon and he's some sort of
So succubus
he's some sort of vessel of holy power or something, and all the demons are attracted to him.
This isn't Oretama, my friend. This is not going that sort of direction. I think it's not. That'd be pretty funny, but
I don't know.
yeah.
I'll keep my eye out. I don't trust this.
Okay.
It screams danger to me. Like
Stranger danger. But yeah.
Promise you, it's
I think
not going to
too
play
many-
out the way you're suggesting.
Too many doujins, Toast.
But yeah, we'll see how that pans out.
aren't
any last-
doujins just printed anime?
No.
Definitely.
Aren't manga just porn books in the end? Let's be real here.
I mean, they just justify it with story, so
Aren't doujins just a reflection of reality in the end?
I mean, isn't that what isekai
if
is?
you ask Street Fighter 3 players,
But yeah, we'll any last words again, Dark?
I mean, I wasn't gonna consider that last words, but sure.
What like how who's your favorite character and why? And
It's probably. I mean, shit, dude, it's hard because one of the things that we could get into is one of the main features is the voice actors in the series.
well,
Yeah, I mean that's
want to know.
one of the only major things. But like again, I'd like to point out. I did mention this before the podcast, but I would like to point out that Kitamura Eri is like almost criminally underrated for how flexible she is. Like she just does like casual like slips. The thing is like Kitamura Eri doesn't like when she does like major roles, they're all like female roles, right? But it's like she also does like a lot of like. No, she does like prominent, like strong, sort of like individual like female roles that are like pretty, one of the more famous being stuff like Jury in Street Fighter. But it's like she does a lot of like very flexible, like sort of middle of the road and also like Shota kind of voices that like
Wasn't she the dude in Yaruko-san?
the dude in I think that was actually Satorina, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, so I might be getting it wrong.
Leone
Take my
Tanaka-san, main character, is voiced by
Kitamura
Kitamura.
Eri again.
Aha!
Yes. But so yeah,
Sato.
I mean, Satorina
You
also did
lunatic.
was
She's also Homura
Yeah,
in
but
Senran
sound
Kagura.
nothing like her.
Yeah, I
Is this
mean,
another
there's
Ayane
a lot-
Takitatsu thing against Fire?
No, it's not. I was just checking my.
No, but I had that with
But yeah. Shut up.
also in this series, by the way, which is another reason to watch it too.
is Rina Sato. Okay.
The main heroine is Rina Sato Sunoharasou-san.
So you're saying this is basically Hyperdimension Neptunia, right?
No.
Because it's got
I-
Kitamura Eri and Rina Sato.
That's not
A
how.
lot of-
Same,
a lot
it's
of
the
series have
same
those
thing.
two.
Literally how it works. But yeah, I think she's pretty underrated, but it's pretty nice to see her like doing these like little show like kind of slipping into these middle of the line roles instead of just doing the standard like I'm a strong like individual woman who don't need no agents voice actor agency kind of thing. But yeah, it's the cast is quite good.
Yeah.
Has the girl
And
with the big eyebrows shown up?
she has, but she's only a minor role at least right now. But she
Well,
has shown up in both episodes. She's
I'm
a
not
storekeeper.
Okay,
So
anyways,
It's a shame, really.
So this is basically the Yuragi So of Shotokan in this generation, right?
Sure, man.
I would say it's just more or less light Shotokan.
Or the
but
love.
yeah.
It's not Love Hina.
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying
would
to.
also say it's nice to hear Sato doing an Onesan role in an anime because I don't think she really has done one recently.
I
If
mean,
I'm not mistaken.
What do you
Honestly,
mean,
the
a
only
girl in anime, or what are you talking
what?
about?
No, like her like Onesan voice
Oh,
essentially
Onesan voice, yes.
Neptunia
isn't really.
Neptunia is
Do
not an
you
Onesan.
hear the words?
Yeah,
No,
was.
she's Vert in Neptunia, which technically she's kind of doing that voice, but also Toast, that is a video game,
It
not
also
an
had,
anime.
it also had an anime. It counts.
Also
Yeah, it was
not
a
recent
That was like-
whatsoever.
That was like
That's the thing.
3 years ago.
It's still part of the postmodern generation. No, it's the modern generation. It's too old. You got me.
Keep going.
Anyway, it's real nice to hear that. Asami Kana is just doing,
Asami
usual
sucks.
shit, which is also really nice.
I'm trying to actually look through Satorina's series. She might be a little bit busy with making some like Index 3 content, but that's like a little bit far away too.
The other,
Stuff recently.
and literally the only recent thing that I know of from her was, off the top of my head, was that really bad show from a few seasons ago that was the Baka to Test ripoff.
Oh yeah,
both premise and character
yeah.
design.
No, I know what you're talking about. I just forget
The one where
name.
he's all like, "Oh, I'm the worst in my class, but actually I'm really smart and I didn't try."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She played the teacher, and it wasn't very good. It was a really phoned role.
Oh yeah, no,
Was
I
unfortunate.
remember that. It's Yokoso, yeah. Yokoso Jitsuryoku Shijo
gross.
Shugi o Kyoshitsu or Yojitsu. But yeah, she did teach her there.
You might as well watch Kakiguri. That's a Kakiguri. That's a famous Netflix anime that everyone likes.
I'm gonna call it that from now
Kakigiri.
on, honestly. I'm gonna call it that from now on. But yeah, anyways, thank you, Dark, for the review.
Dark, who'd you recommend it to? And yeah.
Degenerates.
Shoulda called
If you like
Degenerates.
if you like those voice actors, go for it. If you're a degenerate, go for it. If you watch Maid Dragon and you like the Quetzalcoatl parts, then that's really a lot of this. So, yeah.
But anyways, we'll just move on then, and I guess I'm next. I'm covering Senjuushi, and that is.
Speaking of Shotokan Spire,
I didn't say anything about Shoutouts, but go on.
Speaking of guns
do you think Shotokan
and how I want to
guns?
shoot myself right now.
Yeah, that's gonna be a part of what I'm gonna talk about actually. So, hey, hold the fuck up,
So
up.
what'd you watch, Spire?
So I did watch again Senjuushi on English, 1,000 Noble Musketeers. So this, as you might know from the premise and from looking at the cover and from pretty much everything else, it's essentially it's not like a full like Fujoshi like sort of like I guess it's like a more light BL series. It's not like one of those reverse harem series that a lot of like Otome Game more reverse harem series that are coming out. It's pretty much all boys, and it's essentially gun boys. So again,
is it like
yeah.
Token Rambu but with guns?
Yes, pretty much. But
Pretty
there
much,
are like
yeah.
some differences in terms of like how they kind of are road mapping the series. So again, it's gun boys, and they're fighting against like
Female guns?
no, they're not fighting against
Dang,
female
they
guns,
missed out.
but
they
they're
missed
fighting
out.
against
Swords.
they're fighting against swords, yeah. Fighting against sword to gunfight. Yeah, they're fighting against like it's the evil oppressive empire, and the evil oppressive empire has modern guns, and the musketeers, the noble musketeers, are like these old like historical guns that are fighting against the evil contemporary guns, and they all have like magical powers and stuff.
So they literally can't win then. Got it.
Is
No,
it
they have
That's what you would
magic.
think. That's what you would think.
Is an M1 Garand like a fantasy gun now, or is it modern?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But it's like so the thing is it's like it's not just like like specific like type of guns. It's like a specific gun that like a specific like historical figure used. For instance,
It's like famous
like
guns?
yeah, like a musket that like Napoleon used. So it's like that's sort of like how they're doing it, and they explain it too. They're not just like, oh, here's just a good name. I hope you know how it is. Like they're like, okay, here's a name, and then right below it, they have like a like caption that's like, this is the gun that blah 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 blah. So that's actually really helpful. I would like to actually.
This sounds like what they would use to summon servants in Fate. And from like we have if you said Napoleon's gun, Napoleon would probably be summoned as a rider or something. So it's like if you use their catalyst as an anime, that's kind of lame. Maybe if you watch Fate, you'd get it.
I don't.
Is that something I have to finish Zero to really grasp right there?
You just have. To be fair, you have to have a high IQ to make analogies like this.
Okay. So you know how they summon Saber using Avalon, right? That's a scabbard.
Yeah.
It'd be like that, except if they were a gun and they were used by this person.
But they're the gun. They're not the servant.
So you summon the gun as the servant.
Oh my god. Anyways, can we move
Yeah,
on?
Who would win in a
Just
fight?
like that.
The gun
Just like this
or a
thing
servant?
that's completely different.
Probably servant.
Wow, they suck then.
All right, let's move on. But
so who's the main gun boy?
So they're trying to run like as wide of a cast as possible, but it's like I think one of them is like, well, it's like, how do you say it? It's like there's a guy that's like controlling them. It's like Napoleon or whatever, but then he has like these other guns that are like, like Rap or Kentucky or like Springfield, stuff like that, where it's like some of them, as you said, are like specific or like they're like brands of guns, but then some of them are like, oh, this gun was used by Napoleon, or this one was used by some other like sort of random era like Europe figure. But the idea is like, well, so this is like where it's going to differ a little bit from Tokurambu. It's like they have like the action scenes and stuff, but a lot more of it, it's like, I mean, I also watched a bit of Tokurambu, but the impression I'm getting is a lot more of this is like them just like talking and kind of like messing around and kind of doing the cast interaction more than it is like them caring about pretty much anything in the plot. Like I'm sure that
it's more like Token Ranbu Hanamaru, the slice of life version, than the actual
yeah,
Token
it's a
Ranbu.
little bit more like Hanamaru. Yeah, so again, just like sort of Hanamaru, I'm sure they're gonna focus a little bit more on the plot, in the ends of episodes and like in the last like 4 episodes or so of this season. But for now, they're just kind of like talking to each other. They're kind of making the interactions. A lot of this is like, it's weird because it's like they're appealing to obviously girls and stuff like that, but they're also making like a lot of it like really like strangely gay. Like I don't know how else.
Wow, I wonder why they would ever do that.
It's not okay. It's like because it's like with like this is gonna be a really weird conversation. let me finish before you guys comment. So it's like this is like regular game. It's like you have like regular fucking like human beings, and they're like, oh, we like guys, and it's like they have the. And it's like in Japan, it's like a little bit more like family or a little bit more like hierarchical because there's like the whole like uke semi, like who gets it, who receives,
So
like all that bullshit,
so who's
right?
the male gun and who's the female gun?
Female gun. let me keep going. But so it's like a little bit more weird in like anime, but it's like they're like mainly regular people, right? But it's like it's weird because it's like in this one they're like they have like super like they have like boys that are like all like fucking goth lolly dressed up and like the hair is like completely like a girl's, and it's like they're trying to speak like as feminine as much as possible, and then there's like a guy with like twin tails and shit, and it's like half the cast is like very like girlish, and they like specifically try to make it like as girlish as possible. They're not even like trying to make it like oh, I'm a regular like gun and kind of like thin and like Japanese, that sort of like BL kind of thing, but I'm also gay kind of thing. They're just like, oh, this guy is like a guy, but it's like we're trying to make him as girly as possible, which is weird, kind of weird. Like I don't really understand.
How high is this? How high is the trap level? Is it like
it's pretty high. It's like
I don't know how far this goes, but Token Ranbu goes pretty far with some of them too.
Yeah, no, I've seen Token Ranbu and it goes pretty far, but it's like this thing takes it up like one level. It's like it's not like a super higher level, but it's like a solid like there are like maids that are like fucking like long haired like one patch maid girl boys. Yeah, and it's like there are two like Chota twin boys
twin
that have
guns?
like
I get it.
that have like girlish hair and they're like all dressed up in like baby doll dresses and shit. Like it's like super weird. I don't know what the fuck's going on, and I don't know whether that's like specifically like trying to be like, hey, this is like how they could be more gay with each other, and it's pretty cool, and it's like appealing to like girls that like that sort of stuff, or whether it's like trying to break into this like really fucked up market where it's like for guys, you know what I mean? Where it's like at some point where they're like, I'm okay with this.
Spire, you've covered some degenerate shit. But so far, this sounds like the most degenerate thing you've ever watched.
But like, Spire, you say modern guns. It's like, does that mean like the most evil gun of all time, like the AK-47, because that's used in like everywhere? Is that like one of the evil guns, or?
I'm not sure. They haven't really gone over like the evil guns yet. Like a lot of the pretty much all of the guns that they've gone over is like.
Is it like Concoli where they're abyssals, kind of thing? Abyssal
yeah,
guns?
right now they've only really shown like the Empire, like the lackeys, like the army guys just like with their machine guns or whatever. And that's actually one thing I do want to mention before I end my thing, where it's like, what was it? Like when they do the action scenes, like it's like really weird. It's like, again, it's like.
Is it more Concoli? Is it more like Upote, or is it more Token Ranbu?
No, it's kind of, it's not really cool. It's not really like a cool action scene. It's like it's like, oh, this guy's powering up, and then he doesn't really do like first like with Token Ranbu, at least there's like like sword fighting and stuff like that. He just like this guy like he's like, oh, I must be the ultimate noble, the ultimate noble or whatever, and then the Supreme Noble, excuse me, and then he like glows, and then he like starts running across the screen, like like those Sonic like after flash kind of like things, right? He leaves that trail like golden trail while he like goes across the screen and starts shooting down people, and then like people start like die or like start people getting knocked out or like dying or whatever. I'm just like, what's going on right now?
So are they wielding themselves as the gun, or?
No, Napoleon is like wielding the special gun. So the guys turn into the guys, excuse me, turn into the muskets, the special like magical muskets, and he like gains his power, and he goes across the field and he kills everybody.
So
That's
it's
sort of
like
how it
a
is.
Valkyrie drive then.
Sort of, yeah.
So they
Without the lesbian.
Wait,
Yeah.
there's two characters for like each thing. Like one turns into a gun, and then the other person wields it.
I think
So-
there are more pairs, but right now it's like Napoleon plus like a whole bunch of fucking like dudes trying to fucking.
So Napoleon is like the admiral, right?
Yeah.
And then the special gun dudes turn into the guns when Napoleon needs to fight.
Yeah, and then he glows and gains this power, and then he like starts like
Oh, okay.
supersonic racing across the screen and like shooting down everybody. It's like really weird. Like the fight
But
scene
then
is like
why are they
really weird.
holding themselves in the arc?
At least Upote, they hold themselves and they fight as them. They hold themselves
You're
and they
asking
fight.
me, but yeah, it's like yeah. The fight scenes are like kind of like irrelevant because it's like at the very end and she's just like, oh, I'm glowing now, I'm gonna fucking it's like fucking Mario Kart like star kind of shit. It's like I'm just gonna shoot down everybody, but that's not as relevant as like the whole like again, the weirdest thing I find is like it's like super, I don't know, it's like
Gay?
it's like gay, but it's not like I don't mind like gay stuff. It's like gay, like you guys, like this Uki-sama shit has been going on for like 50 million years. Like, I don't really care. But it's like a very weird, like I don't know what market it's trying. It's like definitely trying to appeal to like a wider or like a different type of market. But I'm not sure what exactly it's trying to appeal to.
So it's not, it doesn't appeal to like, let's say, the Upote the Upote people where they're like, let's give some gun facts and these are the girls, and or does it appeal to
Upote is a lot more trivia. This is a lot more about like the boys.
Well, that's kind of
It's
lame.
like, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, that's all I had to say. Again, the major point I took away from this is like, it's really, it's gay in a very straight. You know how there's like that trope of like, the orange haired like twin tail like kind of sticking out, like glasses like lab girl, like crazy like mad scientist girl, right? You guys know that sort of trope, right?
No.
So they just took that and applied it to a man.
Yeah, it's like that, but like the chest is like completely flat. That is like one of the actual like.
You mean like Lychee, but with orange hair? Or the cat girl? I don't remember her name.
It's not. Fuck. There's. Well, yeah. I'll show you guys later. But it's like super gay in like a weird way. It's like I don't know what they're trying to do.
So you're also saying it's not good gun-wise, and it's not good action-wise. Either way.
Yeah. It's just good question mark gay-wise. I don't know. Again, I don't know what this sort of thing is trying to appeal to specifically, but it's trying something new. It's weird. But yeah, that's all I had to say about this series.
Who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to
The gays.
You can't say the gays. I love the gays, dude. But yeah,
Oh no.
I recommend it to somebody who would be like it's weird because it's like
Like Token
like
Rambo people or something?
yeah, I guess, but it's like they want to try something that's like not as terrible as that like Kamigami no Asobi, where it's like the gods are like super like gay, but it's like a super fucked up terrible setting, and it's also like a random like otome game kind of shit. I would and they were like, oh, I don't want that, but I want something like super surreal that's also gay like this. I want to see that shit. Then probably I would recommend Senjuushi. But yeah, that was, as I said, it was a weird conversation, but I'm glad we got through it. Anyways, Nier, you want to follow me up?
Speaking
I don't
of
know,
the
dude.
gays,
Yeah, speaking of gay,
Speaking of the gays.
I watched Banana Fish, which I said earlier.
This is one of the sort of series that people are anticipating, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. At least, I was looking forward to it. So Banana Fish is a adaptation of a 1985 manga, which is sort of a like a seedy, gangster underground story about a young lad named Ash Lynx, or at least nicknamed Ash Lynx. And he was taken off the streets by a mafia boss and turned into like this weird child sex slave thing. And
So
Yeah.
so kind of like Guts, except not hanging from a tree.
except not at all. Yes.
Very OP.
And the mafia boss has kind of like groomed him into like this seat, into this position where like he's set to take over like the head honcho seat of the mafia. But he doesn't want that, right? He's not about that life. So he uses like all of his connections and all of his power to kind of go against the mafia boss. And it's sort of this story of like, this young gangster who's made enemies all over this seedy underground, using his connections to try to fight the big bad mafia boss. And there's this young Japanese man who has come into America, and they cross paths, and they may or may not fall in love. I don't know. The series is kind of gay, but yeah, it's kind of like, I hesitate to call it like a buddy cop drama because they're not cops. But it's kind of cheesy like that, where it's like gangsters duking it out and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of the thing is, it's kind of hard for me to ask questions about this sort of series in specifics, since we haven't really seen a series sort of set up like this or like made like this in a while.
What do you mean
But-
a while? Like this isn't this a shoujo? I remember this kind of aimed towards women, but it was pretty popular for like dudes too.
It might be like Jose, but I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's labeled shoujo, but it's not like your typical shoujo, right?
Yeah, that's
It
what
might
it,
be. Isn't it Jose? Jose might be.
Well, maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know. My anime list tags it as shoujo, but yeah, it's less about cute boys and more about like him in the like crime underworld of New York.
so
Yeah.
so this basically
Just so
is
happens to be very handsome.
this basically is the berserk of shoujo.
So can I? So in terms of like the balance, again, I have not read the
I don't
manga.
know
I
anything
have
about
not
this.
seen the series. What's the balance? I mean, have you read it?
I have not read it.
Yeah. Okay.
I have the manga downloaded,
Okay.
but I haven't read any of it.
Do you have a sense of? Obviously, this will be much more clearer throughout the season. But do you have a sense of what the balance is like between the action, sort of the internal sort of introspection slash retrospection slash development kind of thing slash interaction with the main character and like sort of the demon he has to beat, right? And then the mystery. So how does it? What's the balance like between those three images?
Well,
Or can you predict it at least?
I mean, I can try. The first two episodes aren't really super action packed. In the first two episodes, it obviously introduces you to all the characters. It kind of sets up what's going on. It alludes to the main character's past. And in the second episode, things kind of escalate. The main character's rival, I guess, who's like also part of his gang, kidnaps one of his best buddies and also in the process kidnaps the young Japanese guy that's come to America to interview him for a magazine.
Right.
And they all get wrapped up in this weird like trap thing where they kidnapped the dude's friend so that way they could lure him into this trap and beat him up, and then they beat him up and they ask him questions about this weird he gets this weird necklace at the very beginning of the series, and he opens it up and there's this weird powder in it, and it's alluded to that the weird powder is this drug supposedly called banana fish.
So that's why it's
which
called
is-
banana fish. Okay.
Yeah, which is supposed to be, I guess, the overarching plot and mystery of the series. And it's revealed that the character's older brother, who went to war, they say in Iraq, but I'm not too sure where. I'm not too sure when this is supposed to take place, because it's a 1985 manga, right?
So like
Right.
Vietnam.
And it sets up itself as this like the seedy underground crime, like the mafia is big and stuff like that, like it would in the 80s, right?
Right.
But
So
they've
now-
got smartphones and they've got like modern guns and they've got modern cars and stuff, so I'm not too sure.
I mean, this was
How
made
this-
in the manga was made in the 80s though, so
Yeah,
it's
so
probably be a
the-
reboot.
yeah,
It's
the general tone is still obviously going to be very 80s.
yes.
It's kind of hard to deviate from an 80s gangster story, right?
Mhm.
But I think it's supposed to be set place in like modern times. So they say his older brother was in Iraq, and he got drugged in this weird hospital because he got shot or something.
Mhm.
And ever since he got back, he's like a vegetable, right? Like,
Yeah.
and the only thing he does sometimes is like he has seizures and he says banana fish, right?
Mhm.
And so the whole mystery is like, what is this drug, and why does the big crime boss want it, right? Because
Right.
the whole conflict of like why he got brought into the trap is that the main character has this necklace that has the drug in it, but he doesn't want to give it to the crime boss because he doesn't want to follow the crime boss's plans, right? Because he doesn't
Right.
like him, obviously. But yeah, the whole second episode is like, he gets brought into this trap, and then his buddies come to rescue him, and the police come to rescue him because he's like some weird. I don't know if he's like a police informant or something, but like the police are kind of on his side, because they're trying to bring down the big crime boss, I guess.
Mhm.
And they come too late, and the little black child gets shot 2 times in the chest, and the main character goes into like this fit of rage, and he chases the guy that shot him all the way to his house.
Mhm.
And when he goes into his house, he finds the dude dead already, and then the police storm in, and he gets framed for murder, and
Okay.
and now he's being sent to prison with the obvious intention that the police were working with the crime boss to get him set up and into prison, so that way the guys in prison that are working for the crime boss can kill him, right?
Right.
And that's the initial setup right now. So I think for the most part, it's probably not going to be too action oriented. It's probably going to be more on the mystery side,
Right.
except for obviously like the prison fight scenes and stuff, and when he gets out of prison.
Exactly.
But I think for the most part, it's probably going to be a bit more focused on the mystery and introspection on like the main character kind of dealing with his past and his inner demons and stuff. And then this young Japanese guy, I forget his name, Eiji, I think, and they're like the dynamic between the main character and him, and I think there's a romance there. Again, I'm not too sure. This is this is a shoujo series, so there's probably going to be some sort of sexual tension between them.
Right.
But yeah, I think for the most part, it's probably not going to be too action heavy. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good so far,
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the series that people are kind of looking out for because it does have a premise that is a little bit less shallow than a puddle, right?
It's not
Yeah.
it's not just homosexuality. There's some good storytelling in here.
It's not weirdly gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
It's just
but yeah.
normally gay.
It's just regularly gay.
It's like the Breaking Bad.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's pretty good. Any last words?
Um, this is done by Studio Mappa. So
Yes,
it looks
long time no see.
looks very nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mappa, they usually do some decent stuff. Sometimes they do some bad stuff. The track record hasn't been too good lately, so I hope this is a nice bounce up for them.
Right.
But yeah, it looks nice. It's got a really nice aesthetic to it. It's got a really nice tone to it. But like I said, the clash between like the modern setting and the whole like 80s gangster story.
Yeah, that must also affect
it's-
the.
That must be a detriment to it.
It must also affect the sort of how the mystery / action works slightly. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I'm not super sure if it is really like solidly cemented in the modern setting, but
Mhm.
they've got smartphones and stuff, so it's hard to tell. But other than that, I don't know. The OST is kind of nice.
yeah,
It fits the gritty, seedy feeling sometimes. It's there's this one track where it's like the notes like cut in and out, and it's pretty neat.
Oh, okay. Pretty
Does it have synth drum?
Yes.
Nice, I'm watching it.
There's only like one track I've heard that has it, and it was pretty short. But
That's just enough.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Check it out, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
How would you compare it to something like, I don't know, Cowboy Bebop? I guess that's like the first thing that came out of my mind with the sort of atmosphere that you say it's giving off. Seems like the Cowboy Bebop crowd might be into something like this. Or-
Maybe. I mean, Cowboy Bebop doesn't really.
You'd have to warn them that just because sort of the audio visuals might end up being more similar doesn't necessarily mean, you know what I mean? It's like they might not
Yeah, I mean,
appreciate some of the pacing.
I would say, for someone looking for something like similar to Cowboy Bebop, I would say it is still a shoujo, right? So it's still going to have moments where it's like two men gazing into each other's eyes and they're blushing and they're like, wow, he really is the untamable lynx, huh? And it's there's some corny dialogue in there that's like, okay, like come on. But I think the the criminal underground story and some of the mystery can definitely appeal to that crowd for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So again, thank you, Nier, for the review of Banana Fish. Again, please do check it out. This is one of the series that I think definitely, if you're gonna be one of those people that are like, I took the anime with watching this season, you might at least want to check out Banana Fish, right? So
there's a reason why it's really popular.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah. So please check that out. And now we are moving on to the news. And so, very short news for right now. There's not been that much going on in the past 2 weeks. A lot of like company stuff. First off, Studio Sugar has launched its Patreon page. So Studio hopes to conduct live drawings with pledges. Essentially, they're like selling stuff like live streams with their studio like animators doing stuff. Hopefully it's not just like an in-between artist just like working on stuff, you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, we just brought this like entry artist over here and he's just gonna draw some in-between frames for like 10 minutes and then we just
Like
gonna stop
dead
it.
silence with like a cough every now and then.
Yeah, it's like no, and he's like he like draws like half of like a head and then it's just like the stream just shuts down.
Is it like when one
the
draws
the
stuff,
VODs are
or
subs only.
Shoji Murata? Shoji Murata does live streams of his art. Is it kind of like that?
I mean, it's probably going to be similar, but the thing with Murata streams is those are like hours long.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're probably gonna have an hours long stream, but they're probably gonna be like, oh well, VODs are subs only, and they're gonna be probably illustrating very like not very relevant stuff.
yeah,
right?
I mean, it's going to be animation cells, right? So because Trigger still does fucking pen and paper trigger animation. So
What they all? What they did they have like it was even like a couple of months ago they had at like an expo or something like that, or like a convention they had
a
or
panel.
they were like, yeah,
They were
we're just like super poor, so we just
please give us money. Yeah, I
That's pretty
remember
funny.
that. But yeah, the streams are probably just gonna be them doing like a couple frames of animation, and then the stream's gonna end. Because like with Murata streams, he's working. Usually his streams are like hours long, and he's only doing one panel. Like, so.
The thing is, it's like apparently right now, as of press time, 112 patrons have pledges of US $506. I forget where. I forget what it is now. Let's see this. Studio Trigger. Oh, it's wow. They're getting $8,292 per month. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people willing to throw money at Trigger.
I mean,
Have
I
they
would rather
watched
I would
episode
rather
24
do
Frank
this.
yet?
It's like I would rather people pour money into this than like some other stuff on Patreon, right? But all the same, it's gonna be interesting because obviously I don't know how to make guesses on how big Studio Trigger is or like what they're gonna actually do with the money. But
Spire, have you seen Darling in the Franxx? It was the most talked about anime of the last season.
But yeah, this might obviously pay for like some side projects like that, but I think also more importantly, it might show some like it might provide some valuable data for like overseas, you know what I mean? So that might also help with a lot of that. I'm interested to see if obviously there has been like Kickstarters and GoFundMes and whatever been done before, and this is simply an extension of this, right? But I'm interested to see how much more of this will be done, and specifically not just more of this, but how many Japanese studios will make overseas sort of outreach, because that's the important part, right? It's like there is a lot more money overseas. Like people are just kind of willing to throw money at stupid shit.
Well, I think Trigger is a special case, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about it, because it's like Trigger has made a lot of overseas like ventures before this, right?
Yeah, but like, well, what I'm saying with that is like Trigger does that because they see that Trigger makes more money overseas than they do in Japan. Like,
compared to the other studios, definitely.
Yeah, like people in Japan, they don't. I'm not gonna say they don't really care, but like
black people don't care about, or Bush doesn't care about black people kind of moment here.
Yeah, like
Japanese people don't care about Trigger.
the West just cares more, right? Like the West just eats Triggers up.
Yeah, compared to
like,
the other studios, yeah, definitely Trigger is valued much more over in the West.
Yeah, so I think Trigger sees that, and they're like, this is fucking
might as well.
market,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
yeah, why not? Exactly.
Like they funded was it Kickstarter that they funded Little Witch Academia 2 on, and it like far exceeded its goal?
Yes, I believe
so. Like they know, like it's an easy market.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid point. Like beyond just like it's like just being able to reach out first like this, but they might obviously consider some other like their own sort of stuff, not just all like Patreon or like third-party platforms. So this is definitely an interesting. Next piece of news.
What if UFO Table did this?
Why would they need
do you think?
to?
Do they need to? But what if they did? Aren't they funded by Aniplex money?
I don't know if they're funded by Aniplex money specifically, but
they're just owned by Aniplex.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Aniplex has like the monopoly on all things related to Fate, don't they?
I mean, I don't know.
The good stuff.
It's like at that with what UFO Table is doing, like project wise, with games, with movies and stuff. I don't know if they're really they don't really care about specific
if
lower level stuff.
If they set up a GoFundMe to bring Calafina back, how many people do you think would fund it? Or a Patreon?
I mean,
probably not that many, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
But Calafina wasn't broken apart by UFO Table anyways, so it doesn't matter. Calafina was. I don't know what to say to that. But anyways,
don't you want Calafina back for upcoming
literally
Sal
me wanting
Alicization.
Calafina back is literally nothing to do with why Calafina broke up in the first place. But anyways,
I was just gonna say, even though I don't think we would ever, like, we would never be able to know, but
Yeah.
I would really like to know how much more profitable this is for them than, say, like, overseas stream gets them and stuff
what do you
like
mean by
that.
that?
Probably
Oh,
Like,
scale
like
as
how
in
much
like
they take in from this
yeah,
over, say, like, if they, for
yeah,
like Frank's being streamed on Crunchy.
yeah, because things are
probably
surprising.
immensely more. I mean, there was
Yeah.
the report a while ago that like Crunchyroll subscriptions, like none of it goes back to any animators. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
like
So that's why,
you're
like, I'd really like to. I would still like to see it.
So what are you implying that maybe they might even want to kind of kick their own like kick third party like even just like publishing in a sense and just like work with or distribution in a sense and just work with their own shit in the future if this thing goes well enough?
No, probably not. I'm just like,
that'd be nice to see.
That'd be
yeah,
very
I
that'd be
don't know if it
interesting for
would
sure.
happen,
It'd be a
but
very interesting experiment. Somebody
Yeah,
might
Yeah.
do it.
that would
Yeah.
be very impressive to see. Like if they start getting enough money, they just be like, okay, we'll just release our episodes to subscribers.
Right.
That
That'd
would
be really
that would be very interesting to see.
yeah.
The last thing I wanted to comment on with this Patreon
Mhm.
is I think this is a big turning point for Trigger, right?
What do you mean by that?
I think this page right here is like a really big deal to Trigger, and I think if Promare is received badly, all this money is going to be gone, right?
Okay.
Because Promare is like the next big Trigger thing, right?
It is their next baby, yes.
Everybody's looking forward to it,
Yeah.
right? And I think if Promare goes badly, and I'm not even saying like if it is bad.
I think the major problem with Promare, if Promare goes badly, is the first thing that people are going to say is not necessarily that Promare is like bad and like Trigger is just being whacked. It's more they're going to link it back to the last series they did, Franks. It's like, oh, you guys had a scandal with this, and now you're fucking up with this as well. It's like, what's going on? I think that's going to be.
I think you have very wishful thinking. I would hope that people would do that, but I won't believe it unless I see it. I think just right here on this page alone, where it says Studio Trigger and then in parentheses, Little Witch Academia, Kill la Kill, and Kisniver. I think that also says a lot.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
they
Trigger's.
might trace it back to Kisniver.
Well, I think they're gonna trace back to Trigger's entire history, right?
I mean,
People-
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that this is where the ill will come from. I'm saying that the previous sort of incidents, so to say, that Trigger has had will trigger some more amplification factors for any ill will.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is people will look back at Trigger's entire record, right? People
Yes.
fell off at the end of Kill la Kill.
Mhm.
People fell off quite a bit at just Ninja Slayer in general, right?
Mhm.
People and did Inferno Cop get a second season? I don't even remember. But
It might be getting.
yeah,
There is at least going to be.
there's something going on with Inferno Cop, and I don't think it's going to be received too well because Inferno Cop was a funny joke, but you can't make the same joke 3 times, right?
Right.
Can't be done.
I mean, people thought
know-
Fate was a joke. Guess where we are now?
People still think Fate's a joke, but
They're wrong.
people didn't like Kisniver.
That was the hand-holding one, right?
Yes, Little
Yeah.
Witch Academia was good, but like it was safe, right? Like there
Yeah.
there was really nothing they could have done to
Yeah.
make Little Witch Academia go poorly. So I think Promare is going to be like the big deal, right? Because it's supposed to be like Gurren's coming back, like that's the literal
Yeah,
tagline,
I think
right?
it's also
it's Gurren
supposed to-
Lagann cross Kill la Kill.
exactly.
Right?
It's like it's weird because it's like I thought, in my opinion, like looking back at Franks now, I thought Franks was their experiment for Gurren, right? But now they're
Well-
like, here's another experiment for Gurren. So I don't
think-
know whether this is like a second attempt, whether this is like the last attempt, or whether this is their actual try at the Gurren.
So the way I see it, Frank's was Trigger, being a Gainax, former Gainax studio employees.
Circle Jerk, yeah.
They're essentially just fulfilling the wish of the guy that was like, I want to make this series, right? I wanna make this series, and like can you guys help me out, right? Like these fellow Gainax boys, right?
Right.
And I think it was just essentially them helping each other out, like the old Gainax guys getting together. I think Promare is Trigger like flexing, right? Because they're
Okay.
putting the big names out, right? Like the Kill la Kill guy, the Gurren Lagann guy, he's coming back, guys. And they've got Ryoki Sawano's back, right?
Yeah.
They've got the big names, right? They've got everybody from Kill la Kill back.
Yeah.
They've got people from Gurren back, they've got a main character that looks exactly like Kamina,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the big thing.
I think this is Trigger's big flex, right? So
yeah.
I think the future of the studio as we know it kind of hinges on Promare.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting though, because it is, again, Gurren Lagann is always talked about. Obviously, Kill la Kill is always talked about. But it's obviously them flexing, but it's also a test for them and for us. See, it's like, will people still be kind of all in on this sort of stuff? Specifically, the Gurren Lagann type of stuff, where it's like, yeah, you can be extreme and you can get a lot of views and like fucking just all out, but specifically in that sort of spirit of things, will it kind of work out as big as it did before? Which I think is a reasonable chance of success, but I just want to see if people are okay with what will essentially end up being, in my opinion, a rehash, right? It's like people, because they are so tuned in upon trying to make it like Gurren Lagann, trying to make it like Kill la Kill. I think they'll be very afraid to stray too far away from pretty much everything that everything and anything that Gurren Lagann / Kill la Kill stands for, right? So,
That's the big worry, right?
yeah. So it's like, because they still have to make it creative, yeah.
At Anime Expo, Trigger showed off, the main character for Promare. He looks just like Kamina, and people were like, "Oh, here's Kamina again, right? It's just gonna be Gurren 2."
Yeah, that's the big fear.
But that's obviously the big fear. But there was all other people who were at AX that said they actually showed off the character designer's first manga he ever made, and the main character from that also looks like Kamina. So apparently he just draws main characters like that. But the big question is going to be, will Promare just repeat the same story beats as Gurren, right? How many times can you be like, oh, my insert weapon will be the one that insert motivational item to the heavens, like,
yeah.
Believe in me that believes in you.
yeah, like how many times can you repeat that before it gets old?
So far, they've done it 3. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it goes. Promare definitely a very important moment in I think Trigger's history. So looking forward to see how it unfolds. And last piece of news here, or last piece of non-personal news here before we go into a little bit of personnel news, is that Nintendo's new representative director and president Shuntaro Furukawa said that after a stockholder meeting on Thursday, the company would need to earn about 100 billion yen, or about 902 million US dollars from smartphone games in order for them to be a primary source of revenue for the company. So that's like a general source of scale. The company has The company has earned about 350 million US dollars from smartphone games as of March 2018. The number represents 4% of Nintendo's total earnings. Furukawa says smartphone games will be an important business from now on. Earning 900 million US dollars will be difficult because challenge worth pursuing. So yeah, it's Furukawa mentioned. In addition, Furukawa mentioned the 7-year history of the Nintendo 3DS and said that the company is considering various possibilities about a successor to the handheld system. So yeah,
That's a Switch.
what?
Isn't
Yeah.
that the Switch? Like,
Thought that was a Switch,
Yeah.
but I guess not.
Yeah. So Furukawa noted in the interview that the Nintendo Switch has been selling well, and the company's ambition is to spread the system on the scale of 1 unit per person. Blah. Oh yeah, the Wall Street Journal newspaper reported in December that Nintendo will seek to establish more tie-ups with smartphone game developers in light of its mobile game schedule falling behind. So they're kind of probably like testing a lot of waters and kind of dipping their toes into stuff, but whether they'll fully kind of make the jump might be much later down the line.
I mean, I don't know why they're even commenting on like, oh, our our like income from smartphone games isn't that big when they have like 3 smartphone games.
Yeah.
Like, what? What do you expect?
They want that Grand Blue and Grand Order money.
All right.
Well,
How
they're gonna
about
have to do more than fucking Pokemon, but not.
have a little bit more than Pokemon and Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that's all you guys have.
What
The
about
problem
Mario
is-
Run?
And
Yeah, the
Fire
prob-
Emblem is the only gacha game they have. So, like,
I think the new Pokemon game is a gacha as well. The
Yeah.
Pixel one that came out.
Is
I
it?
think the issue is it's like, I mean, they can rely on like Pokemon Fire Emblem and stuff like that for a bit, but it's like they also need to, if they're going to fully go into a smartphone game these days, I think they need like a new IP that is more inducive to fucking snatching these whales. You know what I mean? It's not sucking in the whales during like gotchas and shit like that.
I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
Fire Emblem's pretty good at it. If they made
Yeah,
Fire,
I know, but like later
made-
on. What I'm
if they
saying
made
later.
Fire Emblem like a better game, that would pull in so much more money. Like,
I think that might be part of the issue too, is what I was thinking. Like the fact that Fire Emblem, you already have such a long line to compare the mobile game to, that it's like, eh.
Yeah, it would be better to, in my opinion, if they're going to do a later, like another mobile game, there is just like they should think of maybe just making a new.
a multimedia thing.
Yeah. I think that would be better.
Probably, yeah.
What about
Um,
that Mario movie that we've been hearing about?
Stop this.
I
Stop
don't know.
this.
I think I don't know. I feel like Fire Emblem's like I feel like they almost struck gold with Fire Emblem, right? Like if they just if they just made that game dual audio alone, I think that game would pull in like double the money. Because a lot of complaints I see from Fire Emblem is like the English voice acting is fucking atrocious. So it's like, why would you pull a unit that you like when they're screaming in some ungodly accent, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they definitely need another IP that's like,
The sales asking
know.
if did they not do mobile ports of the old Fire Emblems yet?
no, that's fucking smart though. They should do that.
Yeah. But
Even
yeah.
then, though, that doesn't bring in nearly as much as like if they did it even like a.
No, but I mean, it brings in
Better
enough money
gacha.
for Square Enix to keep doing it, right? Square Enix releases every
True.
goddamn Final Fantasy they've ever had on mobile.
Yeah.
Even though they're not very good versions of it, they sell enough for them to keep making them.
They just do stuff, yeah. But anyways, that was the last piece of non-person news. Just quickly going over the people news here. First off, actor Go Kato Go, passed away to gallbladder cancer on June 18th. He did some stuff in Samurai Rebellion, Ningen no Joken, The Human Condition, filmed in Sunonutsu, Kage no Kuruma, and Amagi Koe films, as well as doing some stuff in these other sort of like Japanese remakes. Please condolences to his friends and family. Also passing away, also another person that passed away, Steve Ditko. Usually, I mean, this is more like this podcast, obviously more anime focused, but this person, born in 1927, Ditko is perhaps best known as co-creator of the Spider-Man comic character, who eventually became one of Marvel Comics' most recognized and iconic characters, and passed away at the age of 90. Please wish him condolences. Less sober news. Composer Taku Inoue, one of the much more famous composers behind in Bandai Namco Entertainment. His name is like on a lot of shit, a lot of songs behind Banco. announced on Twitter on Friday that he was leaving Bandai Namco Entertainment at the end of June. He said he had been extremely happy 10 years working with the company because it was quote unquote the best job with the best coworkers at the best. But yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. He's done different like anime stuff like Kai Chikaku and Daishogun Great Revolution, blah blah blah. But he's most often known for he did under Bandai Namco such as Tekken, Ridge Racer, and the Idolmaster game series. So yeah, very like very big behind the scenes guy. Publisher Akita Shoten's official website revealed on Tuesday that a manga creator Takahiro Sato passed away in the early morning on Tuesday at the age of 41. So he created the manga Samejima Saigo no Junichi as well as Bachi Bachi, which were like shonen series. So please wish his family and friends condolences. The last piece of news, again, ending on a happier piece of news here. The official website for the talent agency Mouse Promotion announced on Friday that voice actor Toru Okawa Toru is returning from his hiatus. Okawa will return to work gradually. He did Roy Mustang and Full Metal Alchemist. That's Soul Eater. He did, I believe, he did narrator for JoJo, so on and so forth. Again, back. Hopefully, please wish him a speedy recovery.
He's back for part 5.
They're like, get the fuck out of the hospital here.
You need to come back, sir.
Yeah.
We need something, please.
Yeah. Okay. So last but not least, we have our shoutouts and callouts. So our shoutouts and callouts, everybody gets one shoutout and one callout here. And our shoutout can be, any one thing that you want to praise, give 5 out of 5, so on and so forth. And callouts are exactly the opposite. 1 out of 10, 0 out of 10, flame, insult, do whatever you want with any one thing, person, place, whatever. So I'll go first here.
Alright, what's your shout out and call out?
Thank you, Toast.
It feels weird having you narrate your own thing, so someone else has to speak up for you.
No, I get it. Okay, so my call out, honestly, I was thinking about this for a second, and like me just talking about, I was gonna call out Steam for a second, because I was really annoyed before. But I'm actually gonna call out people who like, just fucking, I don't know what to say, like anime fans, like
Hey, that's you.
Yeah, it is me. I'm calling out me, but I'm just really. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, just like...
Who hurt you, Spire?
Yeah, who hurt me indeed. This is people just saying really stupid things a lot of the time. It's like, again, like, I think just, like, this comment I saw recently, like, I think Chen posted it, right? It's like, that's because light novels is literally reading a book. No art, music, or voice acting to carry a mediocre story. And then some people like overreacting, like, "Oh, I can't believe, I can't believe people just hate everything to just hate or whatever. Like, why are people so like cynical? Why can't you just enjoy stuff? Like, just saying all these very like nonsensical things." And I wish these anime fans would just rip their hearts out and put it in like a glass jar for just a second, because I think if they just looked at things from, I don't need them to be open necessarily. I just need them to kind of think through their logical progression for just a second, and just kind of start weighing things a bit more serious. So then I think we could all kind of have more productive discussions. Yeah, I learned a thing or two. As for my shout out, that call out honestly took everything out from me. Oh, my shout out is honestly to fucking Million Live. Idolmaster Million Live Theater Days.
Look at this guy. He says, "I hate anime." Take a look at yourselves, and then he talks about Million Live.
Yeah, because they had like an anniversary event recently. They kind of made everybody grind the shit out of the game. But they gave everybody a decent amount of so that was pretty cool. And I'm also not being as salty because in the last gacha I got like both of the featured SSRs, so that's a major part of my shout out.
Wow, look at this guy.
If I didn't get either of the featured limbs, or if I got just the perm, I'd be pretty fucking salty right now, and I would not give the shout out. But I did, so fuck you. Yeah. Shout out to Callouts, please.
This guy just casually pulling 2 SSRs.
Yeah. No, it was over 70, 80 rolls though, so
Yeah, whatever, dude. Some people get 0 SSRs in that many pulls.
or just get duped all the time.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Um, shit. I don't know. Fucking
Do you
Fuck.
need to think about it?
sure. Why not?
Okay, I'll go. Toast, what's your shout out and call out? Why, thank you. My shout out is to I guess PSO2. Thanks for dropping 14 stars for me.
Which ones did you get?
I got 2 daggers and a Eternal Psycho Drive.
Fuck, you got the 2 daggers too?
Yeah,
Wait, did you get 2 sets of them?
yeah.
Oh my god, I can't even fucking flaunt that on you now.
Like I want a Shion though. I'm still waiting on that, but I got Eternal Psycho Drive. It's what makes my
Dude, you're never getting a Shion. That has like 80 of them have dropped, like each. Like maybe a total of like 300 have dropped. No, not 300. Maybe like a total of 2,000 have dropped. There's no way.
My call out is to this season.
Damn.
Why are you making me wait so long for Isekai Mao and Yuragi So? I want to watch it now. Speaking of SSRs, I got 6 in a 10 roll once. It was pretty cool. Different game though. You'll never know what.
Okay, so
That
Near, you
fucking
got it?
island one that got shut down, wasn't it?
No,
okay.
it's a different one.
Okay.
Near, you good? No.
Sure. You know what?
Near.
Yeah, sure.
What's your shout out?
I don't even know whether this is your toast call or whether
Ill or not? Me
No.
neither.
It
My,
means I'm pretty good right now.
My call out's gonna be to I wasn't gonna do this, but I'll just do it anyway. My call out's gonna be to certain Dragon Ball Fighter Z players who think they're hot fucking shit.
Is this the one I know about?
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
'Cause they
okay.
think they're hot fucking shit because they can do like some gay Dragon Ball combo that like touch of deaths, and then they say dumbass shit like, "Oh, sparking's not a comeback mechanic, dude. It's a momentum shifting mechanic." And it's like, what does that
Comeback
even
isn't
mean?
about changing momentum. It's just about coming back. They're literally different words.
You're not making a comeback, dude. You're just shifting the momentum of the match entirely into your favor. And it's like, what do you even mean by that? And like earlier-
They made comeback.
earlier today, he was saying shit like, yeah, S is pretty easy, but then she gets pretty hard once you start learning her loops. And I was like, S is the easiest fucking character in BlazBlue that you could possibly play. Like, what are
you
you
talking about
talking
cross tag
about?
or wait?
Central Fiction.
Central
Like-
Fiction, yeah.
Like, come on, man. S is so easy. She's brain dead. And he's like, yeah, but her execution spikes quite highly from when you start to when you learn her loops. I'm like, can you name any character where execution doesn't spike when you start to learn optimal stuff?
Yeah, it's
Silence. I was like, this guy just opens his mouth and he says the
Just says-
stupidest shit.
just says the things.
And then every time he gets called out, he just goes completely silent. And it's
yeah,
like,
there are people like that.
do you have any idea what you're talking about? Do you even play fighting games? Like,
It do be like that.
I don't know. There's so many people who like play fighting games these days, and they like learn these combos and stuff in training mode, and then they're like, yeah, I'm good. And then they fight like actual people, and they're like, what's matchup knowledge? I don't know what that means. And they get their fucking ass handed to them. And then they say dumb shit like, oh man, like, X characters fucking godlike when they're actually fucking mid-tier or bottom tier or some shit. Like, come on, man. Like, get some perspective. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like to be kind to them, right? We were all like that once, right? But it's about being able to kind of change.
Yeah, I mean, I was like that too, but I wasn't spouting shit like I knew what I was talking about, you know?
But near tier lists don't matter.
I
What
wasn't-
matters is how well you can play your character.
the heart of the cards, kind of shit.
I wasn't
yeah.
I wasn't sitting here mashing -10 moves on some kid, recording it in a webum, posting it on Discord, and being like,
yeah,
man,
none of the
I'm
moves you did
good.
were plus.
like,
That's
what? Come on. Like, just take a step back.
Something is going on.
If you're getting into fighting games, take a step back, look at yourself, and maybe think before you start saying shit. All right, that's all I'm gonna say.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, because a lot of these competitive games, not just fighting games in general, but like highly competitive games, are just like once you you raise yourself up and you are aware that you're raising yourself up, you're like, oh man, because I gained this with my sort of knowledge and my hard grind, like this is the knowledge, right? It's like it stops becoming your knowledge and your perspective, and starts becoming the knowledge and the perspective, which is obviously slightly dangerous, right? So that's sort of it is a very, and a lot of people deal with that very differently, especially in the case of this man that you're mentioning. Sometimes he beats a bullet around a couple of times, and he's like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm godlike.
yeah, I'm godlike.
I bully this bullet player for 10 minutes. I'm a legend. Like,
the legend. But yeah, it is very fortunate.
yeah, just even if you're like taking knowledge, from experienced players too, like just
You gotta tack it up. You gotta make it consistent.
you gotta process that shit for a while before you start regurgitating it, like right? Like you got if you're watching a video on some tech and like you get the tech down, don't just be like, hey, by the way, I'm godlike now.
Oh god. Yeah.
Like you learn something, that makes you a better player, but you're still learning, right? You're still a fledgling fighting game player.
You are yet a Padawan.
But if he beats you, doesn't that make him the better player?
He has established the dominance.
If only it worked like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, you didn't say your shout out yet, right?
No. My shout out goes to Fate Grand Order for giving me the wrong SSR a couple days ago. That was very fun.
Which one did you get?
I rolled a couple tickets on the Da Vinci and Saber shared banner, hoping to get Saber, and then I got Rainbow Sparks, and I was very excited. And then it was Da Vinci, and I was less excited because I wanted
Not as
Saber.
excited.
That's what you get for having what's it called? The desire seed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Desire meter?
Yeah,
Desire
sure.
sensor.
Desire
But
sensor.
yeah. Just that was great, I like it. It's nice and all to get a 5-star, but I'd rather, get a Saber sometime. I didn't get any Sabers with like 2 years of playing in JP, and I still don't have one. So I'd like one, please. Please.
Anyways, Dark. Shout out to Callouts, please.
Shit. I don't know what.
Do you need to think
There's
about
actually
it
a
some more?
lot for both. No, I don't. There is a lot of like things to shout out and a lot of things to call out. I'm gonna get. All right, so for my call out, I mean, it's just gonna be the same shit you have been hearing me bitch about for like a week, because it's a lot of fun. But
Is it
I'm
Warframe?
calling out people. No, Warframe I like. That's probably gonna be a shout out. But no, the call out is to people thinking that developers on a game shouldn't be fired after having
yeah,
a
this one.
meltdown on Twitter. No, Twitter is not your private space, as a matter of fact, especially when you advertise on your Twitter to get followers that you're a writer for ArenaNet. That doesn't count then. You are not, like, that's not your private Twitter. When you have a Reddit AMA, and then you're done with the, and then you take to Twitter to write a, like, 8-post thread.
I thought it was 25.
Dude, I didn't fucking count. That's even worse. But regardless, you have this massive thread of tweets that in which you, in all honesty, like kind of half-assedly explain why the writing in Guild Wars 2 is fucking terrible. And then a fan comes out, a fan who is both a partnered streamer with her and has only praised your work, but offered constructive criticism, says something like, you know, I agree that it's difficult to make an MMO character seem like a real character because everyone is playing that character and everyone is making decisions, and that's their character while simultaneously having written by you. So it's hard to do.
I mean, from what I heard, it was.
Well, what they offered was, they said essentially, why not do more advanced branching dialogue?
What I'm saying is that in terms of like, regardless of like what that discussion like was like ended up being, I think unless again the developer herself was a little bit, if she said something like race or anything like that would have been like a completely different thing. But I think the company was a little bit trigger happy with regards to how it happened, but I don't think her reaction was accurate, or like her analysis of how it happened was accurate.
That's where I disagree too. I don't think the company was trigger happy because this person has had multiple incidents where you're
Oh,
like,
she had multiple incidents before?
well,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
she's done
It
this a
wasn't.
few times.
She's done things like this a few times with lesser name people, but also she had more recently when Total Biscuit died. Immediately started tweeting about how
She was one of those
like
people.
she was she was essentially glad because, but you know, the problem is that he's behind a legacy of gamer shit like that, and it's like, well, he doesn't. Like, listen, I wasn't a fan of Total Biscuit, but uh, Gamergator he was not, nor does he leave
In
behind a
fact,
legacy
he
of
was
that.
against Gamergate.
Yeah, the only
Quite
thing he's
publicly.
ever said was, you know, I think the idea of having more integrity and more like scrutiny towards journalism is a good thing. So yeah, so like in that case, I don't think that they were too trigger happy. And it's really weird to see the number of people who either aren't reading tweets, especially in like more bigger name circles. I'm not gonna name names, yo video game, but just tweet something like in blind defense, and it's like, did you read the tweets? Because it doesn't read like a fucking sane human being wrote it. So the escalation like was completely irrational. The response wasn't warranted whatsoever. So, and especially since it was to a partnered streamer, like I think in general you shouldn't be doing that to someone offering peaceful constructive criticism, because
Well,
they could have just, well,
I
because they
think
could have just as easily said this, like, you know, branching dialogue would clearly work better in Guild Wars 2.
yeah.
The
Well,
rational response then is, well, here's why we don't do that, because time constraints with this type of content and budget constraints. Like, obviously that's a huge investment.
yeah.
End of story.
My
The person could have said, like, you know, why don't you fucking do branching dialogue? And then that's like they could have been like aggressive with that, because it's an obvious thing. And they go, and the response was, "Oh, well, what do you think? I'm a fucking idiot? Like it's not. It's so obvious that you do branching dialogue." It's like, well, then why didn't you fucking do it?
Right.
Don't be an asshole when you're not doing the obviously better thing. Then you're going to say, and you're going to act like aggressive when someone asks, "Well, why aren't you doing?" In a calm manner, in a genuine manner of trying to get a discussion going, like time constraints and like what goes into making content that's like up to date, or like if you want to call it that.
Again, I think again from a more outside perspective, a lot of if it was like more how shall I say it? I mean, the scale of it obviously wasn't too super strong, but the issue was, I think my perspective, the issue was from what you mentioned, she had all these previous incidents where she created the same sort of similar scale fusses that just didn't need to happen, right, at all. And then she was creating sort of this slow but steady PR mess that was happening. So, and if that was the case, then I think the studio definitely had the right to kind of just be like, no, let's stop this. But
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, on one hand, sure, I think that you shouldn't be able. Well, it was also like kind of spreading of misinformation after that at that point too, because she gets fired and all of a sudden it's like, well, ArenaNet gave in to Reddit, and it's like, no, there were people. It first happened on Twitter, in which they were getting tons of before the Reddit post even came up, because this was a partnered streamer with the company that was trying to talk to you, and you just immediately blew up on them for no reason. And then when other partnered people were like, "Hey, I don't think he meant any offense by that,"
yeah, it
just saying.
She
And
just
then
blew it up way too hard.
yeah, it's like when you don't stop that hard, and then after you get fired, you're contacting magazines and saying, and still not admitting any wrongdoing whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like it just gets to absurdity.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But yeah, anyways, your shout
Shout out is developers that actually give a damn.
out?
The Warframe developers, because boy, do those new expansions look really cool, and boy, are they very open to constructive criticism, and they're very aware of themselves. One of the first things was someone had asked on Twitter, like, is the reputation grind going to be similar to the one for the Earth open world that released as their first open world? And the creative designer said, God, no, that was a mistake. We actually need to fix that. It's not good. People don't like it. It takes too long. It's rewarding, but you essentially, it's like you want people to reach almost the end of the content and to be satisfied within a few weeks, not within a few months. And that was essentially that. So they did that. They're stepping their game up. They're being even more ambitious, and they're adding a new mode where you pilot a spaceship with multiple crew members as you're on your team, becomes your crew essentially, and then one person infiltrates another ship while all that is going on. And that was actually the original concept for Warframe, which was supposed to be a conventional MMO before they had made what it is now. But obviously, there's a whole document of what happened with that.
Right.
I got a question.
So, yeah, go for it.
How much are my Soma Prime blueprints worth now? Or no,
Nothing.
not Soma Prime,
Because
Frost Prime.
nothing, because he comes out gets unvaulted every fucking 3 days.
Okay.
The only old Prime that was worth anything that
Ember?
got vaulted was Rhino, because he never came back, but now he's coming back again, so he's really cheap. So, yeah.
Alright.
And those in general, those developers are really just fun to talk to because they know when they fucked up
Right.
and they'll own it. And as long as
Yeah, that's a
you're,
big part,
not,
accountability, right?
as long as you're not insane about it,
Mm-hmm.
they're open for like discussion and for,
Yeah, for
like
fixing things. Yeah,
realistic, and
thank
for
you.
like realistic criticism,
Yeah.
realistic suggestion.
Okay.
And they're just
So,
nice.
yeah, they're just nice people. Okay, so that's good.
But who would win in a fight? A warframe or a servant?
Damn it. All right.
Probably a
Uh,
servant.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of warframes that just instant kill or just can't die.
All right. Well, we should probably move on again. Toast, you already did your shout out calls, right? You
No.
fucking interrupt.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So with that, we are done with the shout out calls. Again, thank you all for joining us here on our stream as well as listening to us on our podcast. If you like what we do this every other Saturday starting at from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. So check us out as we live stream on twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. We're talking about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, including anime, manga, light novel, web novels, and visual novels. More. So again, please follow us here. Please follow us on social media. On our Facebook page, at 4PlayerAnimecast, as well as on our Twitter at 4PPAnimecast, where we tell what we're going to do ahead of time, content, whatever. Check us out on our site, 4PlayerAnimecast.moe as well. So yeah, next episode or next couple of episodes should be pretty interesting as we're just getting pretty much into the deeper things. So more sort of, I guess, more thorough series we'll try to cover, and that'll be pretty good. So yeah, see you next time.